Welcome to Code South.
You're
listening to the Love Transmission.
singing through the birds, singing songs that you've never heard.
Hello, good afternoon. Alison here, Alison Love David, giving you the love transmission. Starting off with my only 4 to the 4 beat, Shauna Scoffrey.
It doesn't seem like reality, but it's here, right in front of me. I love things like this, yeah. I love things like this. It's here, here comes the sun. Whoa, I love the sun. There's nothing you can say or do can change the way I feel about you. Thinking of this time flies, watching the beautiful people go by. Oh, sitting in the breeze, knowing everything's alright with me. I'm smiling from the inside, 'cause we've got nothing to hide. Whoa, I love things like this. Yeah, I love things like this. It's here, here comes the sun. Whoa, yeah, I love the sun. Whoa, yeah. Na 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 na. Ooh yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, freedom reigns and washes all my pain away, my pain away. I'm sitting in the
Do you know the code? It's Code South.
Everything's all right with me. I love things like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love things like this. It's here. I love things like this.
Just saying goodbye to Russell Rockman, who's been giving you some beautiful music until now.
Things like this. I love things like this. It's here. Here comes the sun. I love that. Yeah, here comes the sun. Ooh, yeah. Here comes the sun.
It's a pleasure to be here today. So this is the Love Transmission, and we have lots of rare grooves and soulful tunes with a lot of jazz flavor. And we are having an interview with Darren Daddy Streets. Watch out. Now, what I want from you is I'd love to get you to interact with me, and you can message in, you can come in on the chat, on the website, and we're going to be talking about how we express ourselves and how we can give ourselves the freedom to express ourselves more.
'cause I like it. I like it. Friends tell me you ain't no good, but you do things they never could. I like it. I like it. You rescued me, took me home, you set me free and made me strong. I like it, I like it, I like it like that. I can't tell you too much, 'cause I don't want you to get the big head. You got enough power in your touch to make me lose my head. That's why I say, don't be afraid to call my name. Let me know that you my man. I like it. I like it. I know it's time for you to go, but don't stop now, just one kiss more. I like it. I like it. You got my number. You got my car. You took the key. You stole my heart. Ooh, baby, I like it like that. Ooh, baby, I like it. I like it. Ooh, baby, I like it like that. Ooh, baby, I like it. Ooh, I like it like that.
Oh my, I'm so happy to be here, and thank you Kate and Elaine for tuning in already. That is so exciting. So be careful in your car, Elaine, when you're driving. The last track was by The Emotions, and this one is by Emiliano Santiago, called Bananera.
Sei bananeira, sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você. Será no fundo do quintal, quintal do seu olhar, olhar do coração. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você. Bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você. Será no fundo do quintal, quintal do seu olhar, olhar do coração. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, a maneira de ver. Bananeira não sei, bananeira sei lá, a bananeira sei não, isso é lá com você.
I see you, Santiago. Wicked.
Bananeira, 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 bananeira. Bananeira, 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 bananeira. Bananeira, 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 bananeira. Bananeira, bananeira.
So I'll be playing Rare Grooves, and a wonderful thing about Rare Grooves is that you might know the artist, you might even know their popular hits, but you may not know their rare tracks. This is one of my favourite Earth, Wind and Fire songs, and people get me to sing September and groove, Let's Groove and things like that, but this one is a rockin' tune. Big thanks to you, Russell, for helping me settle in. Oh my God, Huggy G, I see you.
We're gonna rock, trying to get higher. Better come down, it's gonna be a fire. We're gonna rock, trying to get higher. Better come down.
And Maria, you're so kind for coming in and putting that reminder on. We got Atlanta in the house, wicked!
Go on in and dig it, Leslie. I will. Yeah, man.
Okay, so why I really wanted to have this show was because I am so passionate about expressing ourselves. Let's see what Code South has to say. Here's a jingle.
Code South.
So I got asked to do some jingles for the station. Let's try another one. Here we go. Look, there's a phone number if anyone wants to talk to me and chat with me.
07422 128 232.
And let's find another one. This one.
Oh my days! It's Code South!
That's a classic Code South jingle. So they asked me to do a jingle, do some jingles, and they contacted me. And it was actually Daddy Streets who contacted me, who's now the program manager. And yeah, I was like, yes, I'd love to do some jingles. Code South. You're listening to Code South. Yeah, we'll come up with a few. I'll come up with a few during my show today for sure. And you're listening to Alison Love David in the Love Transmission, which it will be called on the website soon. Yeah, Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, Code South. So yeah, that was how I was asked to be here. And because I have this passion about expressing ourselves and freeing our true voice, free your true voice is what I want for us, for as a being kind on planet Earth, is what I want. And so I really wanted to have a show where I could talk about that and interact with my listeners, and really let's inspire each other to dare to share our gifts with the world. So we'll be talking about that today, as well as playing these wonderful rare grooves. And you know, I'm going to play our next song. I'm going to play is a Nina Simone track. Actually, you know, this woman, she dared to express herself. She dared to express herself against all odds, right? And she also not only spoke up and sang about what she cared about, but also she put her own flavor on things. And I love that. I love people putting their own flavor on things. So here's her version of To Love Somebody.
There's a light, a certain kind of light, it's never shone on me. I want my whole life to be lived with you, lived with you.
House. 07422 128 232.
Oh my days, it's Code South.
Oh yes, Code South. Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, so listen, I'm going to play you the first interview. So Daddy Streets is the program director for the station, and I was very lucky to have an interview with him. We, in times to come, I expect that we will have some interviews live in the studio. Oh, you know what? I'm just here and I'm looking and I can't see where number one is. I took him his interview and I chopped it into chunks. So I might play a track while I work out which one to play first. Okay, here we go. Most Def. It's it's one of the most modern tunes I have. This is beautiful. Let's shine your light on the world, people.
I feel right now. I don't wanna take no time to write this down. I wanna tell you how I feel right now. Hey, tomorrow may never come. For you or me, life is not promised. Tomorrow may never show up. For you and me, this life is not promised. I ain't no perfect man, I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have. I ain't no perfect man, I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have. Put my heart and soul into this song. Yes, yes. I hope you feel me. From where I am to wherever you are. I mean that sincerely. Tomorrow may never come. For you and me, life is not promised. Tomorrow may never appear. You better hold this very moment, very close to you right now. Very close to you, right now. So close to you, right now. So close to you. Don't be afraid. Just let it shine. My homie said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My hobby said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My hobby said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My homie said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. Sometimes I get discouraged. I look around and things are so weak. People are so weak. Sometimes I feel like crying. Sometimes my heart gets heavy. Sometimes I just wanna leave and float away. Sometimes I don't know what to do with myself. Passion takes over me. Feel like a man going insane. Lose my brain trying to maintain my thing. Hey, 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 hey. Put my heart and soul into this, y'all. I hope you feel me where I am to wherever you are. Sometimes I don't wanna be bothered. Sometimes I just want a quiet life. Me and my baby, me and my lady. Sometimes I don't wanna get into snowball. Sometimes I don't wanna be a soldier. Sometimes I just wanna be a man. But homie said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My hobby said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My dreamer said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My elder said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world.
glad you like this track, okay? To be free. Come on, let's be free, people. Let's free our voices.
That's all that matters to me. 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 Black people unite and let's all get that. Gotta have one. These little slaves that won't go one life. One man, one voice, one mic. Black people unite. Come on and do it right. Black people unite. Come on.
So yeah, okay, people, not just black people, we all want to be free. Everybody needs to be free. I'm so passionate that we could free our voices. So thank you, Most Def, for the track, Umi Says. So, you know, shine your light for the world to see. Now, what stops us doing that? Well, there's so many things that can stop us shining our light for the world to see. And what I really want for this show is that we start to have a conversation. So I'm really grateful for those people who tuned in and at my request so that we could have this conversation. So I wonder if I were to put a question out to the listeners, how have you been aware of your light being dimmed? You know, how could you have shone your light but you stopped yourself? I'll just share something about me. Worrying about how people think about me has been such a big deal. Like this inner critic stopping me from shining my light, which could be all sorts of things. Things that people have said to me in the past. Anyway, I could talk more about that, but let's just have a listen to what Daddy Streets had to say when I interviewed him. The subject is always, for me, free your voice, you know, free your true voice. How can we express ourselves unlimited? And the wonderful thing about Daddy Streets is that he still has room for people to come up on this show. I loved talking to him. Have a listen. To welcome Daddy Streets on the show today, my first ever interview with the daddy of Code South. I just want to say one thing right before I start. I have this thing where I mimic people. I don't mean to do it, right? But if I'm talking to somebody posh, then I'm going to end up speaking posh. And if they have an accent, then I'm going to pick it up. And so I did it here with Daddy Streets. I'm a bit, you know, we're talking about shine your light for the world to see and criticisms and what stops us from, you know, that has been an issue. My daughter points out to me every time I ring up the Chinese takeaway and my accent changes and stuff like that. So I could have stopped myself and said, oh, Alison, I can't believe you're trying to talk in Daddy's accent. And then I'm like, it's okay. It's who I am. I have to be me. All right, let's carry on. And I'm so happy to have you here. And I wish you could be in the studio live, but we're doing a pre-record, aren't we?
We're doing a pre-record. And thanks for having me on. Do you know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. I'm like living the dream right now. So what, if for those of you who don't know, would you like to be called Daddy Streets, first of all?
Daddy Streets.
Daddy Streets.
Yeah, Daddy Streets.
Daddy Streets.
My government name, Daddy Streets.
Okay. So Daddy Streets is the development manager of the radio station. So if you want to get yourself a spot, you want to find this guy and ask him. Man.
Well, to be fair, it's more about, it's not just about people coming forward and getting spots. It's about looking out for the right talent. Some people I sort of had chats to and approached. They were like, how did you know about me? And I said, because I'll turn up in the dance and I'll be listening at the back and no one will see me come in. I'll be keeping my ear to the ground. I'll be seeing what movements made. And I don't just mean movements on social media. I mean like people who actually have talent in terms of being able to play, select records, people that have got passion. Because with Code South especially, it's about the passion for the music. If you're not the best DJ in the world, it's not the worst. You know, we can help, we can train you, we can develop you, hence my job title. Mm-hmm. But it's more about what you bring to the table in terms of your passion and your love for the music. And that comes through. When you do your show, when you play your set, even when you're just talking about music, you see people's eyes light up and they get all animated and stuff. And that's what we look for. So that's kind of what I do. As well as, you know,
I hear that. That's beautiful. And I'm so happy to have this show because I have a passion. And my passion is about freeing the voice and express yourself. So what I've noticed in this life, in this world that I live in, is that most people are holding back from their true passion or the things that they really believe, or saying how they really feel about stuff, or showing their quirks and interesting quirky bits, or even I'm a singer, and even daring to sing. People are scared to sing, even though that they would love to, because they just keep stum. So there's so many ways people keep stum. They keep their mouth shut and they don't express themselves. So I'm passionate about people expressing themselves. And what do you say to that, Daddy?
I say, do you know what? You're right. So many people have got so much going on. I look at it as a bit cliched, like an iceberg. So there's a little lump on the surface and there's a big whole load of something going on underneath. And no one knows if people are paddling away and they're swimming or they're doing the breaststroke, the front crawl, whatever. No one knows what's going on underneath. And some of the ways that people express themselves, especially what we do, is through music. And being placed in this role, you sort of have to start understanding people's motivations and why they're a certain way and what might not be right that time and things like that. And you become more aware that people are, there's that old saying, hold your light under a bushel, that people are sort of holding back on what they can do for fear that it might not be accepted, fear it might be rejected, fear it might not be that great, fear some horrible troll on social media might go, hey. And that's awful, because if you go through life like that, you're just holding it all up in a big ball. And then, 5 years down the line, you might see them on TV doing something they shouldn't be doing. So,
yes, and also, like, there's also fear of outshining people, fear of being. I remember, like, in my youth when I was a model, I got spotted to be a model, or when I signed to record, and they will go to me like, remember me, don't get up your own arse when you're like really well known and really famous, remember me. And it's like there is something in our culture in this country as well, and possibly other places too, that you mustn't shine too bright because you might outshine the other. So some people are actually just scared of how amazing they are or could be. What do you think of that?
I think you're probably right. One of the things I discussed with my cousin is about being prepared to ask for what you're worth at work. And some people are not willing to say, I want this much, or listen, you should value me because this is what I bring to the table. And I don't know if that's a process that begins at school or through your childhood or something else like that, but some people have that inherently built into them.
We're gonna have some more from Daddy Streets later. So my first question maybe is, what's underneath your iceberg? What do you have under the surface that you haven't shared yet? What could you say? Could you ask yourself that question?
You don't never need help from nobody else. All you got to do now, express yourself. Whatever you do, do it good. Whatever you do, Lord, Lord. Do it good. Oh yeah. It's not what you look like when you're doing what you're doing. It's what you're doing when you're doing what you look like you're doing. Express yourself. Express yourself. They're doing it on the moon, y'all. In the jungle too. Everybody on the floor now. Jumping like a kangaroo. So let the horn do the do they do, y'all. Some people have everything and other people don't. But everything don't mean a thing if it ain't the thing you want. Express yourself. Express yourself. yourself, express yourself, express yourself, express yourself. Whoa, Lord. Hey, Lord. Hey, spread yourself, spread yourself, spread yourself, spread yourself, spread yourself.
Yeah, express ourselves. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have a listen to this jingle. Oh, there's no sound.
Stay tuned to Code South.
That says, stay tuned to Code South. Code South, innit? I wonder what my jingles are going to be like. Okay, so really expressing ourselves, okay? There's so many ways that we can do that. So, you know, I'm a singer. Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. I'm a singer. My name is Alison Love David, and I've been releasing records under Alison David for 20-something years, let's say. And so, you know, you would think, okay, Alison David, she expresses herself. I write most of the lyrics of the songs that I'm known for, and so, yeah, you know, that's a part of me expressing myself. But as a singer and a female vocalist, I have found it so hard to speak up and say, look, actually, this is what I want it to sound like. So when I've been in the studio with producers that know what they're doing, they've been doing it for a long time. And I have one track I remember from a while ago. I should play it, but I'm not going to, haven't got it lined up. And basically, it was... yeah, I remember I broke up the beats. Nowadays there's actually a genre called broken beats that exists. But I was breaking up my beats. This is in the turn of the century, let's say. And I remember going into the studio with a producer, and he quantized. Now, do you know what that means? Quantize means you make everything exactly on the line of the beat. And that is not how funky is. Funky is off and edgy, and it's like the small edge between the line and not the line. It's one of the things I love in music is syncopation. Syncopation is the opposite of because it goes there's so many ways it can do it, basically. Anyway, so free in my voice, right? So here I am, singer. I'm known for my voice. People know me for my singing. My words get through. But the music that I wanted to create, as not being a producer who has, studied this and knows the terminology for this and that, I'd go into the studio, and then the people would do things to the song or say, you need to do this. And then little me would go, oh, okay. Okay. And so it's taken me so many years to have the confidence to speak up and say, no, I want the bass to sound like I made it. Or can you play like this, please? Or don't turn that down. Or there's so many things. So I wonder if anyone can relate to this, if anyone can relate to times in their lives when they've been with somebody who seems to have more expertise than us and has made us quiet. That's one way the iceberg could be hiding underneath. It's like, have you got skills, but they're not qualified? And so you may find times that you don't speak up. You don't say, well, this is my idea, because there are people around who have more experience, more strength. I would love to know if any of the listeners can relate to that. And Huggy G, I love your quote. It's going to go really well with one of the pieces of the interview that I did with Daddy Street. So I might wait a little while for that. So that's my question for you, right? Is there any time that you've experienced yourself keeping quiet or holding back because there are other people who seem to know more or have more experience or be more assertive than you? I just want to know, so let us know. So I'd love to see some interaction in the chat, or you can tell me anything about expressing yourself, how you would love to express yourself, ways you would love to express yourself, ways that you are expressing yourself. I want to know all about my listeners. So who are you? Right now we're listening to Ovi Wright. Let's straighten it out. Keeping it soulful on Code South.
Let's straighten it out. We can always straighten it out. For the last 5 nights, honey, when we went to bed, oh, I could tell something just wasn't right. When you turn your back to me and covered your head, oh, you didn't even say goodnight. Now if you're tired and don't want to be bothered, baby, say the word, I'll leave you alone. Instead of lying there crying your eyes out, honey, you and me ought to be getting it on. Let's straighten it out, baby. Let's straighten it out. We can always straighten it out. You know we can straighten it out. How in the world do you expect me to understand you, baby, when I don't even know what's wrong? But I believe we can straighten it out. Come in and lay in my arms and let me straighten it out. Talk to me, whisper to me, but straighten it out, baby.
Okay, yes, we're listening to the Love Transmission on CodeSouth.fm. Yes, stay tuned and keep communicating with me. I want to hear you. I want to hear you. I want to hear what you've got to say. So straightening it out, you know, is taking some courage to actually, you know, for example, the story I told you earlier when I came to the producer with my broken up beats, and he tidied them all up nice and neat and took away the edge. You know, if I would have had the confidence, I could have had a conversation to explain how I would have liked it to sound. And sometimes we just have to dare to approach people, to actually have a conversation and find a way to be in our hearts, to be gentle, and to say how we really would love to be received. So how has anybody got anything to say about that? Because I'm sure that I could find something from Mr. Daddy Streets. But before I do that, I'm going to play you another track. Okay, so this is one. I love this one. You probably might recognize some of it. I used to dance to a version of this when I was a teenager in under 18 discos. Are you ready for it? Otis Redding and Carla Thomas.
Tramp.
What you call me?
Tramp.
You did.
You don't wear continental clothes or Stetson hats.
But I'll tell you one doggone thing. It makes me feel good to know one thing. I know I'm a right, mama was.
So,
and I know let's
Okay, rewind. Obviously, I'm still learning this. Oh my goodness, I got really excited then, and then pressed the wrong button.
Tramp.
Here we go. Rewind selector.
You don't wear continental clothes or Stetson hats.
But I'll tell you one doggone thing. It makes me feel good to know one thing. I know I'm a
Opinion.
That's all right, mama was.
So,
and I know let's child. Love is all I know
you know what, Otis?
What?
You're country.
It's all right.
You straight from the Georgia woods.
That's good.
You know what? say you're still a tramp. That's right. You haven't even got a fat bankroll in your pocket. You probably haven't even got 25 cents.
I got 6 Cadillac, 5 Lincoln, 4 Ford, 6 Mercury, 3 T-Birds, Mustang. Ooh, I'm a love.
Prove it by me.
My mama was. My papa too.
What?
I'm gonna tell you one thing.
Tell me.
I know the sound of a gun, yeah. Inside of the song.
You're a tramp, Otis. No, I don't care what you say, you're still a tramp.
Call me that.
Look here, you ain't even got no money.
I got everything.
You can't buy me all those meats and sables and all that stuff I want.
I can buy you meats, rats, straw, squirrel, rabbit, anything you want.
Look, you can go out in the Georgia woods and catch them, baby.
Oh, but you goofy, that.
You're still a tramp. Tramp, Otis, you're just a tramp.
Yeah, I'd love to know some of your dancing stories. Where did you hear some of these tracks? Have you got any memories associated with some of these tracks, I wonder? I'd love to know more about my listeners. So talk to me on the chat. Talk to me by sending messages on the phone number. What is the phone number? Let me see.
07422 128 232.
Okay, so I had a question from Huggy G on the shout out chat, and he says, am I still traumatized by the experience with the producer? Man, I have been in the music industry for so many years, and the experiences I had of being shut down or being stopped from expressing the way that I am helped give me the power and the passion to bring my sound out, and it gave me the passion to encourage other people to free their voices. So is that being still traumatized? I don't think so. I'd love to find you the track, but yeah, I was never like 100% happy with it, but I was very lucky because the Bugs in the Attic also released a version of it, and they changed the rhythm and the time, but I never went back and fixed that because I've moved on since then. But what's beautiful is that I did create my own album recently, and I did produce it, and it took me 20 something years, but I finally got the courage to just go for the sound I wanted to. So it took me some time, but it was worth waiting. And so I think that's the wonderful thing, if we can use these experiences to help us to grow. So Daddy Streets talks about the passion. So, you know, if any of you lot have any passion that for music and presentation, there's a way to be included in this family, this Code South family. Let's hear some more about what he had to say.
I was quite lucky. My mum was stunats, right? So we kind of had to fend for ourselves from a very early age. All kinds of craziness. My sister's writing a book about it right now, which will hopefully be published and turned into a TV show that's so funny because it's true life, dark Irish, Italian craziness going on. But the point is, one of the best things that I could say that I was brought up was to never ever accept the word no. Never ever anyone outshine you. Do your thing. Don't worry about other people, because no one else is really going to help you along the way. Some people might, but generally they don't. And when you learn that at a very young age, when you're growing up in the blocks, it forms your sort of way of thinking about, I want this, I'm going to go for this. I want that, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to jump through all these hoops until I get exactly what I want. And then if that's what I still want, I'm going to keep going. And I've met a lot of people throughout life, and they haven't got that motivation. They've got the passion. And I think perhaps it ties into what you said about not wanting to outshine other people for fear. And I think we should all be able to shine our lights and shine our gifts and do whatever it is that is inside of us and get it out there.
I hear you. That's so beautiful that you got encouraged to never say no and keep driving forward, because a lot of people will give up on the first instance. And often with the Free Your True Voice experience that I have, is like someone was told, oh, you can't sing, or you talk too much, or, you know, and then at that point they just stop. So something often has happened with my clients that I meet and the people I talk to, that somebody says something and done something to hold them back. And at that point, they've taken no for the answer and not dared to push forward. So it's lovely to hear that you haven't had that experience. Well done.
I think that when I talk to a lot of my friends when we were growing up, and a lot of people I still associate with now in the DJ community, people from various different backgrounds, West Indian families, Guyanese families, Ghanaian families, Nigerian families, Irish, Italian immigrant families, and so on and so on. The general consensus is that our parents would berate us if we didn't reach our potential. So you know what? We've got to do that. We've got to do the best that we can. And listen, no one's going to help you. The government ain't going to help you.
Yeah.
They're just going to teach you what you need to learn. You need to get out there and you need to do it for you, because no one's going to do anything for you. And the reason this is so valid right now, especially with the times we're living in, is you find a lot of people aren't working. They've sort of had a different way of thinking, especially the younger generation now. And my partner, she runs a nursery school, and she finds it really hard to get staff because the staff, they don't want to work. They've realized, actually, there is another way of life. I don't have to be on this treadmill working to survive to work. And it's quite nice to see that sort of cyclical thing coming back. So I think you might find the next generation of people will not accept the whole don't outshine people, don't engage your passions, because they haven't got the constraints that a lot of people our generation had. So I'm hoping as people move forward, they realize, do you know what, actually, I've got this amazing thing inside me and I need to get it out. And I don't care about other people. I'm going to do it for me.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Daddy Streets. And it's just wonderful to hear that the daddy of this station has such amazing, inspiring things to say. So what's your passion? What is your passion? Let's talk about our passions. So I did have a question from Huggy G, and Huggy G was saying to me, how do I release trauma? Well, that's a big question. But I would like to say that I am releasing the trauma of being, allowing myself to be steamrolled as a musician artist by creating new tracks. So each new track that I make that isn't allowing somebody to steer me off course gives me it kind of credits to all the times that even more credits, because it's so joyful. So sometimes releasing my trauma in that respect is by doing the opposite of what I used to feel broken down to do. So whenever I tell people something about myself that I used to hide, that feels like releasing of trauma, because somehow I'm not hiding that thing anymore. So my question to you, Huggy G, is how do you release trauma? That's what I want to know. And let's put on a modern track. So if you just before I mentioned this song, the one I worked with the Bugs in the Attic, and one of the Bugs in the Attic was Mark de Clive Lowe, and he's also done his own interpretation of Pharaoh Saunders' work, and I'm a massive fan of Pharaoh Saunders. So listen to this beautiful version that he did of The Creator Has a Master Plan. This is part 2. So he's done this with Shigato and Melanie Charles. Beautiful track. Check it out. dancing to great tunes. I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying it here. I'm so glad you're dancing to Huggy. Oh my gosh. So tempted to sing over all of these. Not so often that I get to hear somebody in modern day who emulates the funky soulfulness that the 70s. I find myself quite often in the 70s. I'll tell you what, for the soul jazz, Latin, red groove vibe, but Mark DeClive Lowe and the Bugs in the Attic, some of them guys have got some very soulful stuff and so connected to the jazz sounds. So thank you, Mark DeClive Lowe, for this. There's a whole beautiful album that he made, which is, it's called Freedom, celebrating the music of Pharoah Saunders. And if you're a Pharoah Saunders fan, oh my goodness, what he did with that. Damn, beautiful collaboration. So I have a question for you, and that is, do you have a master plan? Peace and happiness. The creator has a master plan. I mean, whether you believe in a creator or not, Do you have a master plan? Do you know why you came to Earth? Do you know your mission on this planet? Do you know what your passion is? Because I invite you to find out, to ask yourself. I tell you what, life has so much more meaning when you dare to give it the meaning. So yeah, I have a plan. I have this big plan to get all of you expressing yourself more. I am a voice activator, so I help people to express themselves, and that's like speaking up, sharing their gifts with the world, or singing. You know, one of the things that I want to do, sometimes I do, is I work with producers and they want me to be the vocalist, but I'm like, it's usually a boy, but I like saying girl. You just got to express it yourself. Like people, like sometimes, you know, they put people like me in front to sing, and yeah, I have a good voice and soul and stuff, but these producers and anyone who writes their own songs, you know, dare to sing it yourself. It's scary, but it's like your voice it has its own frequency, vibration, and your message can be beautifully delivered by you. So actually that brings me to another one. So I work with this producer called Tom Lone, who's also his artist name is Lucky Sun, and I think I'm going to play you one of our releases from the album Balance that is out on all the platforms now. I wrote and sang the song, and one day I'm going to get Tom down here and we're going to get him to potentially DJ with me, and yeah, I would love to know what his song would be like, but we'll find out one day, because I love encouraging the people I mix with. Here we go, Rain and Sunshine. This is the only release of mine that you're going to hear on this show.
It's doom and gloom sometimes with you, and God, I wanna see it through. Oh boy, you take me real low. Start to question how far we can go. I know there's got to be a way. Sometimes the sky is so gray. So how can I find the truth and find my way back to you? Winter, spring, summer, fall. Somehow I know I must face it all. And I wish my life away, because I can't face the misery I feel today. Can't delete, escape this ride. I gotta get through to the other side. Take the rough with the smooth, oh, and get into my groove.
You're listening to Code Sound.
Freeze or die. Can I make it to the other side? Shelter from the sun or rain. Get burnt, get wet, then start again. As the seasons come and go, we gotta dance in the rain, play in the snow. There ain't no stopping the wheels turning, so we just gotta change our minds and keep learning, yeah. Will it ever stop? Rain on my window pane, waiting for the rain to stop. Feel the sunshine again. I know it will. Rain on my window.
Guest 1416. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope your friend's okay and recovering well.
Just like the trees and plants.
Here we are. Okay, now I think it's time for some adverts, don't you?
Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever now. That is so clean. I let it wash me clean. Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I'm out and about, Keith and I always like listening to Code South. It's my favourite station. Alright.
Oh my days!
It's Code South.
Code South.
Be fit, be safe, be ready. Sussex Self-Defence. At Sussex Self-Defence, we're committed to helping the local community to feel safe and confident in their daily life. Whether that's at school, work, home or on a night out, everybody should feel safe. We teach simple and effective techniques, awareness, anti-bullying and knife defence. From Nick Drossos, one of the world's leading experts in self-defence. We run kids classes twice a week, one in Hangleton on a Tuesday at 4 and a Thursday at 5, followed by adults class at 6. So come down, bring your kids down. We're fully insured, DBS checked, so why not learn a new life skill that may just save your life or someone you know. Be fit, be safe, be ready, Sussex Self-Defence. Contact us on Facebook or call us on 07548 374 729. 07548 374 729.
Code South.
Code South. Code South. Code South. Code South. The South Coast's leading Code South.
This perpetrator's found himself on the wrong side of the law. He's got Code South on, his foot on the gas, and he's dangerously out of control.
Welcome to Code South.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. So I can't believe how much time is going. This is so
when
fun.
I'm out and about, Keith and I always like listening to Code South.
Yeah, so, okay. I wonder what my jingle's going to be like, that version, the impression version. I do love a nice impression. So we're only not even halfway through my interview with Daddy Streets, who's the music director, producer. God, I wish I could remember what I wrote down. Here we go. Here's part.
With the ones who want to get that amazing thing out. The caring about other people is in a different context. They care about other people, and so a lot of people have something to give, and but it's just they're not caring about people stopping them, their own opinions that are going to block them from doing what they want to do. I love the idea of us daring to find what is our unique gift in the world, and I believe every single person has that. And so by finding a way to tune into what is your true voice, what is your special gift, it takes a little bit of stepping out of what's normal. Like basically, you're taking a risk if you're bringing something to the party that is not the same as what everyone else is doing. And I think that's the difficulty, I think, for some people. And obviously with the music, we're looking for people on this show, right, who are going to think outside the box, widen the box.
We're looking for people who don't worry about the box.
Don't worry about the box.
Get the box. When you're growing up, you sort of say, oh, you a sheep, or you're a follower, or you wolf, or you this, you that, and everyone gets assigned a label. And we're quick to label people with various different bits and pieces. Code South's a broad church, talking about our day-to-day experience. We have people from all different backgrounds, different faiths, different creeds, different colours, different beliefs, different gender pronouns. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is we're looking for people who are unique, who set their own path. They don't worry about the box. And that passion, that shines through. But sometimes we do have to encourage it to come through. But it's lovely when you see the full potential reach and you're like, do you know what? My ears are still pretty good. I knew that was gonna work. I knew that person there was gonna be a great asset to the station. And it's kind of weird because where you're empowering people to use their voice, we're empowering people to, shine. And then by you lifting people up, they rise themselves up and everybody grows.
Thank you so much, Daddy Streets. Did you hear that? each one of us, if we rise up, we encourage each other, and then the whole civilization can rise up. So each one of us if you dare to just move a little bit forward, take a risk, follow your passion, follow your bliss, then we're talking. Okay, let's get the next tune lined up. Oh, it's so exciting. I think it's gonna have to be this one, Kindred, The Family Soul. This track's called Get There. Shout out to Natalie, my sister outlaw, who shared this track with me. I like it. It's soulful, and in terms of enriching the soul, encouraging people to dare to get to where they want to go. This track is great.
Try again. Sometimes it seems you never win, but still you dig so deep within to find the strength to get there. Concentrate and focus on your goal. You determine how the story gets told, but make sure to have a hand to hold as you get old. 'Cause you'll get there when you get there, when you get there, yeah. You work so hard and still you dream. Your patience is bursting at the seams. You never let go, you still believe that you get there. I know the struggle can really get old. You're so much more than the call you hold. Just be ready to prove and show when you get there, when you get there. You'll get there. Get there. You're gonna get there. Get there. Get there. You're gonna get there. Get there. Get there. You're gonna get there. I said you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. Get there. I see it. I see it. Get there. I promise, baby. You're gonna get there. Get there. Get there. Get there. Get there.
Where do you want to get to? Do you dare to dream where you would like to be? What's the passion in you that you would like to fulfill? I invite you to feel into that, tune into that, just like you're tuning into Code South right now, people. Each one of us is a beautiful light. Are you willing to shine your light? And this other thing about that is that it's even better when we do this stuff together. So come on, let's get together, people. This track is El Coco. Let's get it together. Just saying, I'm having so much fun here on Code South FM. Come on, do some shout outs, come on the online, make your comments, say how you're feeling, tell me what you want to express. Tell your friends. Yes. Red Grooves in the Love Transmission. Ah, yeah. Getting higher and higher. Unfortunately, I haven't worked out how to do comments on the Mixcloud, but it's definitely working on the website. Okay, so what are you getting together? I wonder if you're getting anything together. Sometimes I help people to get together their business ideas, the things that they might want to say to other people, their tracks, their music. I love helping people get their stuff together so they can present it to the world. And I wonder what you would be getting together, or what you are getting together right now. So that track is from the album Young Soul Rebels, which was a movie. I remember the soundtrack was sung by Misha Paris back in the 90s, but it's a 70s track, and you can really hear me as a 70s girl. And what's so interesting is that there's not always I love dancing, but I don't get to dance very often to the music I love because most people don't play it. So I'm so glad also to have this show so I can play some rare grooves, and I'm standing up so I get to dance my way through. So I'm going to put some more of the interview with Daddy Streets on because I'd love to get to the end of that before here. So here we go, some more from Daddy Streets.
To me, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about more in the show is the voice is not necessarily out of your mouth. Your voice is still like, if you made someone a mixtape like back in the day, or a playlist, I guess you do it these days, right? Then that is your voice. It's the flavor of your sound, right? And then there's things like, I always talk about Van Gogh, the painter. His voice was his painting style. Like, and like one of the things that people are going to discover when they listen to my show is that I listen to a lot of instrumental music. I think probably half my playlist is going to be like instrumental, because you can have a voice that doesn't have words. You can play an instrument and that be your voice. So I think that's the thing. It's just like, what are people going to hear from you? What are they going to identify you as? It's like, how are you going to make yourself heard, seen, felt in the world, And there's so many ways to do that.
I think that's a really important thing of doing. Talking back and touching back to what you said about instrumentals, Courtney Pine didn't say much, but he played some fantastic music. If you think
Very
about that, Stan Tracy doesn't talk; they just play. And even with some of the old rock records, they'd like think about The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. The most famous part is the middle of it, the middle of it where they're just playing the guitars and building up. It's not about the words. That's the bit that people latch onto. That might be because Top Gear used it for a theme tune or whatever, but I think it's more about if you go back in time and you listen to records, the recording would still be running and the musicians would just be like going off key. And if you reflect that in today's music, with dance music especially, when you're putting together a tune, you have all these ideas. It's like a gusto or one of those ready-made dinner packets, and they give you all the herbs and spices and you just put the meat in the pot. When you're making a tune, it's exactly the same. You chop up your ingredients, you put them in your pot, and then when you made the tune, you've got loads of stuff left over. So at the end of the tune, I was talking about this the other day with someone, you have all the goodness that you couldn't fit in the beginning of the tune. And that's the same equivalent as back in the day when the tape would be running and Led Zeppelin would go off key for like 7 minutes and play some crazy drum solo with John Bonham and Jimmy Page. Or the Chili's in their original works would do something. Or if you go back to house music, there'd be like a little riff and a breakdown and it would be a second section. So I totally know what you mean. I love that idea of the cooking and whatever's left over on the side. That's it. I love that. I mean, when it comes to guitar solos, like I love a guitar solo. It's like, what's that song? While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I mean, it's not my favourite solo, but in terms of like, you can say so much. I mean, for me as a vocalist, I have issues sometimes because when it comes to a jam or jam session, I sometimes just want to be an instrument rather than using words, which narrows down the feeling of what somebody could pick up from what I'm delivering. But anyway, right, we're going to keep this fairly short, and I want to ask you, what is the voice of Code South? Oh, wow. The voice of Code South is our DJs. It's definitely our DJs. It's what they bring and how the music they play affects other people. During lockdown, we were still on. A lot of stations weren't. And we were doing remote streaming, all sorts of other stuff under the previous management. And one of the great things about that was people were able to find their voice through the music, through their expression, and people who were at home who were having a difficult time were able to just have that little bit of light, because music doesn't care if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're having a good day or a bad day. Music is always there for you. And for some people, it was really important that they had that bit. So I think definitely our DJs is the voice of Code South. The voice, to me, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about more in the show.
128 232.
You're listening to Code South. Stay tuned to Code South.
Okay, good to be here. So, your voice, what is your voice? Voice of Code South. What is my voice? Well, I tell you what, we were talking there about solos and interpretations of songs, and I found this track, right? And I'm going to play it. It's very long, so I'm only going to play some of it. But I mentioned While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and so this one is a Beatles song by Eric Burdon and War. I love it. When you look at the artwork of the album that it's on, it says love is all around. And you know what? So people, we just gotta do that. Love all around, okay? So I love this interpretation. I'm not going to play the whole track because it's 10 minutes long. But I'm just giving you a taster of somebody else's interpretation of a track that you might know, and he's funked it up. I love the idea of funking up some well-known popular songs. As myself singing covers for a living, I sing a lot of covers, and I do sing a lot of Beatles songs. I've probably got about 15, 20, 25, I don't know. Anyway, check it out.
yesterday, oh boy. About a friend of mine who made the grade. Although the news was awful sad, yeah, yes. Well, I just had to laugh. I saw the photographs. He blew his mind out in a car, Lord knows. He didn't notice that the lights had changed. A crowd of people stood instead, yeah, yes. The scene hit fate before. Nobody was really sure if he was from the house. I saw a film.
This track has crazy dynamics. I'm trying to get the levels right here.
The Chinese army had just won the war. A country full of people turned away, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just had to look. Having read the
Tasty guitar solos. I love the slow, sexy vibe of this tune. Red Grooves on Cold South FM. It's like the slow dance mixes here. Oh, I'm so glad you're enjoying the show, my brother Elvis. Big shout out to you. I tell you what, I could keep playing this track, but it is 10 minutes, so I'm going to move on to another long track. I do love the long, languid expressions. You know, sometimes it's the people that, you know, when we talk about freeing your voice, as I said in the interview, is not always words. So one of these things, I'm still looking for my band. People, each musician having a voice that you can recognize and you just want to listen to, not just a singer. That's what I love about instrumental music. Here we go, Knucklehead by Grover Washington Jr. You're listening to Code South Radio. Red Grooves, Love Transmission with Alison Love David. So I'm checking in who's listening. I want to know, we were talking about playlists, that instead of making mixtapes we make playlists. I want to know two things from my listeners. Which platform do you make your playlists on? I use Spotify, and but if someone shares me a playlist on another platform, how can I listen? That's the first question. And if you've recently received a playlist or mixtape type thing from someone, what was your favourite track on it? I want to know. Oh man, I dream of the day when I sing along to an orchestra. Ow! Code South. Play the whole tune, but you're gonna have to listen to that at home. So let's hear some more from Daddy Street's interview.
My sense, having tuned into the station more since I was getting it ready to play, is that you know, you're bringing the flavour. There's a Britishness, there's a southern, there's, even though not all of your DJs are from the south, right? But there's something very British as well about bringing what we bring here. Do you think there's a bit of a South Coast feel as well?
Do you know what? Coming from Hackney originally and stepping into the station that had been well established for a long time. I mean, I played on it years ago. And I played on different incarnations of it. And then I think over time, we haven't Londified it, or what you want to call it. I remember when I lived in Lewis, people who were from outside, they'd be called down from London, like down from London people. And I was like,
DFL. Yeah.
That's me. I'm a DFL.
I'm a DFL. I'm an OFP over from Brighton. Yeah.
That's it. I've been in this area for such a long time now. It doesn't really count. But do you know what? I think that realistically, we represent the cutting edge, and we also fuse that with that sweet soul, funk, reggae, lovers rock roots, minimal techno from back in the day. So depending on who you're listening to, you'll either get some real sort of Brighton, Hove, focus type thing, or you'll get a proper urban explosion. A lot of the DJs originally come from London. They moved down and they settled in this part of the world because they like the sea, like my mum probably. And then they've still got their roots and they bring that, you know. And a lot of the DJs we've got coming through right now from uni, they're not from Brighton. They're from outside. You've got people from all parts of the country. And it's a nice little melting pot. Again, back to that cooking pot. It's a hot like cooking pot. It's in you go, and it fuses up, and you get that unique blend. And that's why I hope Code South is different from everyone else. I hope our voice is unique.
That's the thing, you know. Sometimes when people listen to a voice singer and they say, "Was that you, Alison?" and they're not quite right, and you know, I have got a distinctive voice, but there are times when it sounds like others, and both of those things are fine. You know, to be unique and to be similar. because that's also the tribal thing, to have a similarity. That's all okay as well. And it's one thing I want to go back to from what you were talking about earlier. And you were saying about all the different backgrounds of all the people you grew up with, and they all were like non-English. And I think that and that was in relation to when you were speaking about just fighting for it and just going for it and just extending yourself. And I wonder if like that experience of not daring to and stepping back and knowing your place and is a British cultural thing more than the other races that you described. You talked Irish, African, you talked Caribbean, you talked Italian, you mentioned all sorts. But I just wonder, like, I feel that there is something in the British, it's like, know your place. And what do you think about that?
I think in regards to that, especially if you look at what's happening right now with the monarchy and all these other things, and people are asking questions. They're asking questions about reparations. They're asking questions about colonialism and all these sorts of things. And people are a lot more astute than they were, because these things aren't really taught in school. Background in history isn't really taught. It's like the First World War, the Second World War. And if you go to a really good school, you do other bits and pieces. Irish history wasn't taught in school. Obviously, Irish in me, so I understand that back in the day, there was no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. That was it. And that, history cannot change that, whitewash that, blackwash that, brownwash that, whatever you want to call it. That is there. That is a statistic fact. And if you look at a lot of stuff that happens in the country at the moment and protest movement and things like that, I think there's a lot of stuff bubbling under the surface. And let's just say my mum was taught you have to, well, she was one of 9. So she had it pretty tough to make sure she got through, you know, and then that's passed down to me. And when I have children, that will pass down to them, and so on and so on and so on. And I think it goes all the way back to your grandfather, your grandmother, whoever, and how they sort of learned, and it passes down. A lot of the people I know are in that situation that you sort of said, that, you know, well, you know, it's we sort of stay in our little box, in our lane, whatever. But then most of the people I know are like, you know what, I don't care about that. That's not necessarily a good thing in some people's respects, but it's what they've been brought up to learn, and it's who they are and what they do. And some of them are very successful, and some of them are in a place you don't really want to go. And it's a really fine line between the two.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Daddy Streets, for guesting, and it's really wonderful to hear you. So yeah, taking the risk, people. I really encourage us to take the risk. So this is my feeling, and I have to stop myself from talking in Daddy Streets' accent here. I get a little bit posh. So the thing is, right, is if we have something beautiful to share, or strong or exciting or passionate or different, then often we might find it difficult and we hide. So we hide some things about us. I mean, I look around, I see everyone's hiding, and my passion is to get us out of hiding, because when you hide, you isolate. And for me, the way that we're going to change the world, the way that we're going to make the world we want to see, these movements, this thing, then is just to come out of hiding. And it takes courage to do that, but we've got it, we can do it, and especially if we do it together. So let me put on another track for us. I'm going to put this one on. It's called Space Lady, because that's what I am, innit? Space Lady is by Lonnie Liston Smith and the Cosmic Echoes. I love that name. Yes, baby. I'm hearing you, guess 6655, that the problem with Americans is that we didn't stay in our place. You know, you guys definitely have more balls, more front to dare to speak how you feel. Sometimes, you know, when I'm trying to do sales, I put on my American accent and I can say, if you want to have business with me, oh my God, that was a bit southern. It's not usually like that, but whichever one I talk in, I can't change my accent right now, but I'm just gonna say, if you want to plug into my website, then it's www.alisondavid.com. And so it's so interesting that I can dare to promote myself with an American accent. It's just, you guys have, it's the American dream, I believe. Can't believe we're nearly coming to the end of the show. We've got 15 minutes left. I've got loads of tunes and one more piece of the interview to talk about. So I'm just going to talk over this track, okay? No offense to you, Lonnie, for your instrumental deliciousness coming through also. We can hear you. I can hear you. So I just wanted to talk about what I had come through. So we have 3 different platforms. We have Mr. Yam using Amazon for his playlist, and Elvis using Apple for his playlist, and Gaten using Spotify. So okay, right? You can check the chat to read what their favorite tracks that they received were. My question is still this, right? If you have, you know, you're dating somebody, and this is how it used to be in the day, and I think it still is. You know, if you like somebody, you give them a mixtape, or you make them a playlist. Well, what happens if they're using a different platform for you? Can you check out the playlist and then start, you know, make your own on your own platform? So could I open an Apple playlist and see all the tracks on it and then replicate it on Spotify? Does anyone know the answer to that? Let's do 2 more hours. I love it, Atlanta. Yes, I wish. Tell you what, right? The next DJ hasn't turned up yet, so you never know. I might get to play a couple more tracks, but just in case I don't, I'm going to put the last bit of Daddy Streets' interview on now. You listen to Code South.
Think that as much as my mum is still nuts, the reason I was able to come on and do what I did, business and in music and everything else, is because I was like, you know what, I want to do that. I'm going to grab. I wasn't like, I want to be famous, I want to be this, I want to be... No, I just want to do it, because I went raving when I was 14.
Me too.
I loved it. Hastings Pier all night raving. That was us. My mum, we moved to Hastings, she loved the sea, off we go, crack on. And as it turned out, that was the centre of the raving jungle universe. So I knew everyone, I knew everyone, and it was just love. And before that, Hastings was very demographically not multicultural, let's put it that way. And then jungle exploded, and suddenly people from all different backgrounds were mixing and having a vibe and having a party, and that's like my origins. I don't care where anyone has been or has done or whatever. I just see people as they are, and that passion, and especially when I put my Code South radio hat on, that's what I'm looking for. And I think what you're doing to help people overcome those self-inflicted hurdles. Michael Jordan used to say the biggest challenge for myself is me. I had to fail thousands of times so I could win once. And people think success is an easy thing overnight. Oh, that person did this and that person did that, and oh my God, how did they get famous? Well, do you know what? Sometimes people literally get famous overnight, but most people have been working at it for years in the background.
Yes, and when you talk about it, like sometimes people, my experience is like most people have got some sort of background. Some people has affected, somebody in their past has affected their confidence, but the only one who's going to pick themselves up is themselves. And also when you talk about your voice and the voice that you talk to yourself with, the voice should be like encouraging, basically kind. And that's the other thing we have to do, is we have to listen out to how we're talking to ourselves. Big ourselves up and cheer ourselves on, and that's where no one's going to do it for you like you can do it for you. It's so true. I love it. I was going to the early drum and bass in London. I was in London when it was happening. There was one in Shaftesbury Avenue that used to happen, and there was one in
Thursday nights,
Hoxton Square. I can't remember what they were called.
Thursday nights Bar Rumba.
Yeah, Bar Rumba, that was it. Yeah. I loved it.
The Blue Note on the corner.
In fact, drum and bass was the thing that helped me understand the healing power of sound, because I would stand, there was one in Hoxton Square, I don't know what that one was, but I used to stand in front of the speakers and I could feel the beats massaging me. And so when I'd just stand there and I'd sort of move my back around a little bit and all my muscles so that I could get, because if you've ever seen a glass of water and how it ripples with sound waves, well, we're so made up of water, every cell is made of water, so we can give ourselves an internal massage with the tones, with the sound. So yeah, turn on the speakers and get that, or use your voice, which is what I'm all about. So that's brilliant. I've loved talking to you. I could talk to you all day, but I know we're going to get on with some music and stuff. So I want to know, what sort of music would you like me to play? What sort of tune would you like me to play next?
Do you know what? I'm all about the bass. I'm a bass junkie. So something with plenty of bass and a little bit of flavour, a little bit of soul, something that gets you here, because that's what it's about for me. That's my roots. Do you know what I mean?
I love the 70s for that. I found a tune the other day, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the one. But Charles Wright and the Watts 103rd Street Band, right? I was listening to that, because Express Yourself is a track, obviously you're going to hear it on the show today, but there's a lovely track on there that had amazing bass, because 70s was the time for the bassists to do a lot. So I'm going to play that.
That sounds good to me. All right, thanks for having me on your show. Bless.
Thanks for doing the show.
Anyone who's listening, if, Code South is a broad church, we're always looking for the right people. So drop us an email to codesouth@hotmail.co.uk. Someone will get back in touch, even if it's to say, sorry, you're not quite right now, and give you a bit of feedback. And you never know, come down to one of our live nights, chat to the team. Come and join our fam.
Yes.
So this track here is, it's got a great bass line. It's quite a standard groove, but the bass makes it to me. Well, I'll give you some more bass, louder bass next track.
Just keep being you. There's something very special about everything you do. No matter what you try to be, it's what you really are. When you don't let light get you down, you shine like a star. Long as I got your loving, that's all that matters, babe. Long as I got your love, that's all that matters, babe. I got the sun, the moon, the stars in the sky. You're the only thing that can ruin my high. Long as I got your love, it's all that matters, babe.
Might have to sing on this one.
Yes.
Long as we're happy together, that's all that matters, babe.
All that matters, baby. All that matters, baby.
If you should ever leave me, you leave an empty space with no one in the world to ever take your place. I know sometime when you're feeling low, you think I'm gonna leave you. Where would I go? Honey, what would I do? Long as I got your love, that's all that matters, babe.
All that matters.
love, it's all that matters, babe. I got love. I got love. I got love, babe. I got love. You got love. You got love. I got love. You got love. Everybody ought to have love. Everybody ought to have love. Talk about love. Good love. Good love.
Yes, this is the Love Transmission on Code South FM. I'm Alison Love David. It's all about the love.
Keep on talking.
Yeah, my last track is going to have more bass. It's one of those things that came with modern times, you know. The mixes are way more bass heavy. Apart from the reggae, that was always nice and bassy in the back in the day. Here we go, Sean Escoffrey, Hercules. You know this track, you might know this bass line. Oh my, I can't believe it's nearly over. Oh man.
O's in fear, it's fear itself. Check out your own backyard before you check out someone else. Railroad track in my neighborhood. Ain't no trains around, that boy just ain't no good. Wanna know what's going down? And the pimp on the corner looks like the sharpest cat in town. Jungle Road can't be no fool. Might get caught by the hook of a crook. Hard time for cool. Look out, Jake, what you say, what you carrying, brother. I hope you're clean, cause a man is mean, so don't come another further. We all know the answer will come out in time. I might even carry some of your load right along with mine. Thank you, man, Mr. Please, cause it must be Hercules. I must be Hercules, like the bird on the wing. I just wanna be free enough to do my thing. I can feel the pressure from every side. If you're not gonna help, don't hurt, just pass me by.
Okay, people, we're coming to the end of the show. It's been a pleasure to be here. My name's Alison Love David, and this is the Love Transmission on Code South. Yeah.
Mr. Please, cause I must be Hercules. Come on.
I'm so glad you stayed on, Mr. Young.
Thank you, man, Mr. Please, cause I must be.
So I'll be back on the next first Tuesday of the month, bringing this love transmission, keeping talking about how are we going to express ourselves more, how can we free our voices and co-create the world we want to live in. Welcome, Sandra. I love that you tuned in over in America. I can't remember where you are now, but I know it's 7 hours different. What a way to start the day. Yes, yes, yes. So I want to do a quote.
Can't be no fool. Devil is on the loose, no cool. Got your feet in the sand. Gotta be down with a catch that around and still got to face the man. Talk about me if you please, but I must be Hercules. I must be Hercules.
This is from the album Move Into Soul by Shauna Scoffrey. So listen, people, I need to finish off with this quote that Huggy G sent. Thank you, Huggy G, for sending in a quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are more powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Saying that gives me so many tingles. Oh my goodness. My name's Alison. I'm here and I'm just going to give you some love in the Stevie Wonder style. This is one of my favorite tracks. Knocks Me Off My Feet by Stevie Wonder on his album Songs in the Key of Life. Not a popular song, and this is what Rare Grooves is all about. It's such a treasure. Such a treasure to be able to play you my favorite tunes and be with you today. Thank you, thank you.
I see us in the park, strolling the summer days of imaginings in my head and words from my heart.
Do you know what I have to do? I have to rewind that because I just want to thank everyone who showed up today. Name you. So I still don't know who you are, 6655. But I would like to thank, I saw Santiago came in, Kate came in, Maria, Huggy G, Elaine, and Mysterious 6655, Mr. Yam, 5634, and Sandra. I really appreciate you being here. Right, let's do a rewind because there's a beautiful song and it's all about the love I feel for you and all of you in the world. Love, 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 beaming out the love here on the Love Transmission.
I see us in the park, strolling the summer days of imaginings in my head and words from our hearts told only to the winds, felt even without being said. I don't wanna bore you with my trouble, but there's something about your love that makes me weak and knocks me off my feet. There's something about your love that makes me weak and knocks me off my feet. Knocks me off my feet. I don't wanna bore you with it. Oh, but I love you, I love you, I love you. I don't wanna bore you with it. Oh, but I love you, I love you, I love you. More and more, we lay beneath the stars under the lover's tree that's seen through the eyes of my mind. And I reach out for the part of me that lives in you that only our two hearts can find. But I don't wanna bore you with my trouble, but there's something about your love that makes me weak and knocks me off my feet.
You've been listening to the Love Transmission from Alison Love David. Tune in 12 till 2, the first Tuesday of every month on codesouth.fm. Get involved. If you'd like to know more about what I share, you can join my Facebook group called Free Your True Voice. Visit my website, alisondavid.com.